Hey guys, how are you tonight? I decided to go live. I've been getting so many DMs with real estate questions, so I said let me just go live and answer some of you guys' questions and just get them out the way. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I just got another phone call, but yeah, you guys can type your you can type your questions in the comment section, and I'll just answer as they come in. I'm also trying to get some work done. I'm creating an LLC for somebody. I also help create businesses for clients of mine. I do a little bit of everything. I'll give you guys a little bit of my background until we get some more people in and asking questions. I started out as a real estate wholesaler, and then I started, after wholesaling, I went into rehabbing properties. I got my real estate license, started, doing real estate sales and working with a lot of investors. And then from real estate sales, I went into building new construction. And I kind of got into building new construction by accident. I purchased 2 properties that were supposed to be rehabs, adding square footage, which ended up needing to be complete teardowns and rebuilds. And everything that could have possibly gone wrong with these projects did. And my GC was making so many mistakes, and I was tired of him wasting money and messing up the budget. So I fired him, and I fired everybody that he had on the project that was just making too many mistakes. And I just figured if, we're going to make mistakes and mess up money, then I just rather, make my own mistakes and learn as I go along so that I don't ever have to worry about making these same mistakes again. So I jumped in, I started pulling my own permits, and I built new construction from scratch. Now, recently, I have came across some land, just got into some land, about 4.5 acres. I showed it on my page. I don't know if you guys remember the property that I showed. So this will be my first subdivision that I'm going to build. And I'm just jumping in and trying that and learning as I go along as well. I'm like the type of person you just got to throw me in and just let me learn as I go along. That's how I learn best. I'm not really the type that needs to do too much studying. I just rather just get into it and bump my head a little bit and learn as I go. So I'll take you guys on this journey with me as I build my first subdivision. And this should be fun. Right now I'm going through the process of the subdivision process, which is the very beginning. You get your plans done, and then you go through the city and you apply for a subdivision. You basically put in your subdivision application, and that gives you, the okay for you to go ahead and subdivide the land into separate lots. Once you get that approval, then you can move on to your building plans and telling the city what you're going to put there and, start building, get to the fun stuff. So if you guys have any real estate questions, you can ask me in the comments. And I'm doing a little bit of work here. I'm doing an LLC for a client of mine, and I'll just answer questions as they come in. Let's see. And LLCs are like the easiest type of corporations to start. Thank you, guys. Those are like the easiest type of corporations to start. And LLCs are great because you have the least liability when you have an LLC. And they have companies out there that charge you all this money to start an LLC. Any of you guys can get online and start an LLC on your own. It takes about 10 minutes, and you can start an LLC. It costs $125, and you just, renew once a year, and that's it. And when you get into real estate investing, you need an LLC, because if you use hard money, they will not loan money to you personally. You're going to use your credit, and that will determine your down payment, but the LLC is what you will put on the deed. Did you need a team to get started? No, I didn't. 4 check running. He said, did I need a team to get started? No, I did not need a team to get started. I did need investors to get started. In building, that is. To get started in wholesaling, you don't need a team, you don't need credit, you don't need money. When you're wholesaling real estate, all you need is a plan, and you need to stick to it, and you need to put in the work. Just like you go in and check in at work and clock in when you're working for somebody, it's the same thing when you're working for yourself and you get into real estate. That is the main thing that we have to have, is the mindset first and foremost, and the discipline to set a plan and follow it, and set a schedule. You're going to say, okay, from 10 to 4 every day, 4 days a week, or however many days you're willing to, sacrifice for your dream. You're going to dedicate your time each and every day, and you're going to go out here and you're going to find deals, and just only do that. Just like if you're checking into a job. I haven't worked for anybody since like 2000, I want to say. No, I'm lying. 2002, I worked for NCR in South Carolina. That was my last job that I had. Ever since then, I've been an entrepreneur and working for myself. So for the wholesaling portion of it, no, you do not need a team. To rehab and build properties, every deal needs the same components, right? Every deal you're going to need when you're building or rehabbing, you need some money. You need, if you don't have all of the money, then you need credit, right? In order to be able to qualify for these hard money loans and get a cheap down payment. Now, hard money lenders will lend to anybody, right? But if you have good credit, and when I say good credit, 700 plus. Some companies, they'll do 700 and up, 10% down. A lot of companies now, since they've been burnt so much, they want you to have a 750 and up. So if you have a 750 or higher, then you put down only 10%. If you have 700 to 750, you put down 15%. If you have anything under 700, then your down payment would be 20%. So you can get a hard money loan, yes. And with the hard money loan, they'll give you money to purchase the property, and they'll give you money to fix the property. But if you have good credit, then your down payment will be cheaper. So you don't need a team to do this. But what you do need are the key components, which is the money to purchase the property, money to rehab the property, and then you need the skills and the know-how. You need to put those workers in that house and get the work done. That's the team that you need. You need, a team of contractors that can get in there and do what you need to do. Now, here in Atlanta, I'll let you guys in on a little secret on how I pull my own permits. In Atlanta, you can pull your own permits as a homeowner. I don't know if you guys know that. Now, when it comes to electrical, plumbing, HVAC, you cannot. You have to have your electrical guy, your plumbing guy, your HVAC guys. They have to go pull their own permits. But for the general permit, you can pull the permit if you're the owner of that property. And a lot of people don't know that. But that's something that I learned with my new construction property. And there's something that definitely can be done. It's not easy. A lot of people hire expediters to do this job for them, or they'll get a GC to go and pull the permits for them, because it's not an easy process. But if you're persistent, then you can definitely get it done. Let's see what questions you have. That's good stuff. I just moved. The LLC from out of state costs $200. Yep. And you can do that. You can move your LLCs from state to state. And depending on what state, some states won't even show like the owner of the LLC, depending on what business you're starting. Like if you're going into a collection agency or something like that, and you don't really want people to be able to find you for lawsuit purposes and things like that, then you can set up your LLC out of like Nevada. I know is one of the states that won't show the owner of the LLC if you're trying to be incognito. But yep, you can switch LLCs from state to state. Was it a struggle to start without having any properties at first? Well, at first, since I didn't have, before I got I acquired any properties, what I did was I started out wholesaling. And with wholesaling, you're basically middleman in the deal. And that's what my ebook talks about. It just kind of like shows you how to get started in wholesaling real estate without having money or credit. And with wholesaling, you don't have to have any properties. You will never own properties when you're a wholesaler. All you need to do is find the deals and find buyers and put two and two together. Now, the main thing about that is finding these deals. You have to put in the footwork and get out there and find these deals, and you have to work out a deal with the owners. You're targeting distressed owners. You're targeting families that have just had a death in the family and might have inherited the property, or families that have just gone through a divorce. You're looking for those type of owners, absentee owners that live out of town, that own properties that they're not really keeping up with their properties. You're looking for those type of people as well. And with wholesaling, you don't have to own the properties. You're not going to own them. All you're going to do is make the deal work. You're basically like almost like a real estate agent, but you're not licensed. And you have to go out and actually find these deals yourself. And with me, when I started out wholesaling, I sold my first property on Instagram, right on Instagram. And I just posted some properties and somebody purchased the property from me. And I made $6,000, guys, on my first property that I ever sold. And guess this, I never seen the property in person. I don't even know what the house looks like. And I never purchased it myself. I never owned it. I didn't put down any money on it. I didn't use any credit. And I made $6,000 on Instagram from selling the property wholesale. All I did was go to the closing, sign off at closing, and I picked up my check. And that was it. And ever since then, I've been into real estate. I closed my boutique that same week, and I jumped in. And I've been doing real estate ever since. So it's not really a struggle. It's just getting out there and finding the deals. You just got to have the mindset for it. That's the main thing. Let's see. Can you use business credit? Yes, you can. You can use business credit. Now for hard money, okay, I'll take that back. For hard money loans, you're going to personal guarantee it. They want you to personal guarantee it. Now, what you can do with your business credit is you can get a business line of credit. They have lines of credit out there that you can get a couple $100,000 in business credit lines, and you can use that to, buy properties and rehab properties and basically do whatever you want with it pertaining to business. That you can do. But when you get a hard money loan, you're not using business credit. You're using personal credit to determine the down payment, and you're going to personally guarantee this property, so this loan. So if you default on the loan, then you're responsible for it. However, with hard money loans, they usually don't put it on your personal credit if you default on the loan, which is one big plus when you're dealing with loans, because you don't want to foreclosure on your credit. But most hard money companies, they will not put the property or the default or the foreclosure on your personal credit, even if you personal guarantee it. Let's see. That's good to know. Regarding permits in Atlanta. Yep. That's information on the permits that a lot of people don't know. I want to wholesale commercial properties. Is it harder or the same process? It's the same process. Commercial properties, residential properties, it's all the same process. You're going to wholesale a commercial property just as if you would do the residential properties. You just want to make sure you're doing your research and find out the true value of that property so that you're not paying too much for it. Because the whole thing with the whole point to wholesaling is you want to get an agreement with the seller, the owner of the property. You want to have an agreement with them for a price that's going to leave you enough room to sell it to somebody else who would be a cash investor. So they want to pay wholesale pricing as well. So if you agree to a price that's too high with the seller, you're not going to have enough room to sell it to somebody else that's trying to fix it up and make money. So that's the main thing. With commercial properties, it might be a little bit harder to figure out what it's actually worth. But that's why it's good to become friends with a realtor, become friends with seasoned investors, that know the numbers and that can help you find these comps and help you find the true value of the property. And then also appraisers. They are the ones that are gonna determine the ending factor and how much the property is really worth. Can you explain to me what the points mean when using hard money loan? Yes, the points, every hard money lender will charge you points. Every lender will charge you points, but hard money lenders, they charge you the most points. They'll charge you anywhere from 2 to 6 points. And you look at points, basically it's like a percentage. Each point is 1% of 100,000. So let's say that. So 1% of 100,000 would be $1,000. So each point would be, if the loan was 100,000 and they're charging you 2 points on the deal, each point is 1% of that 100,000, which would be $1,000. So if I'm charging you 2 points on a $100,000 loan, then I'm charging you $2,000 for loaning you this money. That's basically my fee as the lender that I'm charging you because I'm letting you borrow this money. Now that has nothing to do with your interest rate. You're still going to pay me an interest rate. You're still going to pay me interest on top of that loan. But up front, I'm going to charge you these points, and I want this amount up front in order to loan you this money. Before we even get started, this is going to be, you're going to pay me a down payment, which your down payment would be anywhere from 10 to 20%. We already discussed that. Plus, you're going to pay closing costs, which are usually like 3% of the loan, 3% of the property value. Plus, you're going to pay me my points. So let's say you're buying a property from, you're buying a property and it's $100,000 property, and you're getting a hard money loan for it, and you're going to put down 10%. So your down payment would be $10,000, right? Then I'm going to charge you 3 points on the deal. So I'm going to charge you $3,000 for loaning you this $100,000. So you're going to give me $10,000 down payment. Plus you're going to pay me $3,000 for the 3 points that I'm going to charge you. Plus you're going to pay your closing costs, which means your closing costs are around 3% also. So that'll be another $3,000. So now you're at $16,000. Plus with a hard money lender, guys, they want you to have at least 6 months payments reserved. So a lot of them ask you for, like, they want to see anywhere from 3 to 6 months. They want to see in your bank account, you need to be able to show the $10,000 down payment. You need to be able to show the $3,000 closing costs. You also need to be able to show the $3,000 for my points. You need to show me at least 3 to 6 months payments in reserve. Whatever your payment amount will be, which is usually about 1% of the entire amount that you borrowed. You need to show me at least 3 to 6 months of that in your bank account. Plus, if you're borrowing money to fix the property up, which most hard money loans consist of money to buy the house and money to fix it up, then I need to see at least 25% of that budget in your account as well. Yes, 25% of the budget, because you're going to start the work with your own money, and then when you get things completed, like you get the floors done, you get your framing done, you get, your plumbing done, you're going to let me know, hey, I got the plumbing done, I got the floors done, I got this done, I got that done. Now they're going to send out an inspector to inspect the work and make sure that this work is completed, right? So once they sign off and they say, okay, she's completed the work that she says she has done, now let's release what's in the budget. So let me show you guys a trick. Now, if you're borrowing $100,000, right? Let's say the property is $100,000. You need $50,000 to fix the property up, right? So now we need to borrow what? $150,000, right? Some hard money companies will charge you 10% down payment on just $100,000, but some companies will charge you 10% down on the whole $150,000 that we're going to borrow together. So let's look at it like this. If you're borrowing $150,000 from me total, right? And your down payment is $15,000, and then I'm charging you 3 points on the loan, which is another 3%. That's $4,500 now if I'm going to charge you 3% on the whole entire amount that I'm lending you, plus another 3% for closing costs, right? That's another $4,500. Let me show you how quick this hard money can run up. Now we're already at $19,000. Plus on top of that $19,000, that's what you're going to give me up front. Right? In order for me to lend you this $150,000, I need $19,000 from you. Okay. But in your bank account, I need to see 25% of that $150,000 on reserve, ready in cash. And it doesn't have to be seasoned like if you're purchasing a house to live in. You can go put the money in the same day. It doesn't matter. You just need to be able to show me at closing table that you have this 25% of that rehab budget in there, not 25% of the whole entire amount. 25% of your $50,000 that you're going to use to fix up the property. So 25% of 50,000 is what? 5, 10, 15, 25. It's about 12,500. So I need to see 12,500 in your account, right? That's your 25%. Plus, if you borrowed $150 from me, then your payment is most likely going to be like $1,500 a month, and I want to see like 3 to 6 months of those payments in your account as well. So you need 12,500 in your account, which is 25% of your rehab budget to get started on your work. Then you also need at least 3 months payments on reserve, which is another 4,500, right? So what is that? 17,000. So we need 17,000 on reserve. Plus, let's not forget the other 19 that we need. So to get a deal done, when you're borrowing $150,000 from a hard money lender, you need $36,000 to get this deal done. Now, what you can do is, if you have good credit, right? Let me teach you guys my secret on how I got right here where I am today. If you have good credit and you have the know-how, you find a good deal, you put this all together, you find a good hard money lender. What you can do now is you package all of that up, right? And then you pitch it to investors that have cash but don't have time to deal with this or don't want to deal with this. They want somebody else to just do it for them and give them a return on their money. Now, what you can say is, okay, I have this deal, right? And it's already on the table. We're ready to close next week. I already got approved for the money to buy the house. I got $100,000 to buy it. I got $50,000 to fix it. All I need you to help me with is this $36,000, right? And you're going to tell them, help me with the $36,000 I need to close this deal. Plus, give me a couple thousand on reserve. So I would just ask them for $40 just to be on the safe side. And then for your $40, I'm going to give you back your $40 plus 10% return. Do you know how many people would do that? And you have to move fast, though. That's the main thing. You have to know what you're doing. You have to make sure you're on point. You have these workers lined up, because those hard money payments, they add up quick. So if you can move quickly and get this property done within 3 to 6 months, that's how you get started in rehabbing and building with no money. All you're leveraging is your credit. And that's exactly what I did. Like, I fixed my credit. I packaged these deals and I pitched them to investors. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to invest in you when you sound like you know what you're talking about, and you actually do. And you have, everything laid out on the table for them. People with real money, they don't have time to put all of this together. They rather you do the legwork for them. And it's the same thing with wholesaling. Investors and rehabbers, now in this point in the game, I don't want to go driving for dollars. I don't want to go looking for deals. I'd rather somebody bring the deals to me, So if you are a wholesaler and you come to me, you say, hey, Janeen, I got this hot deal. It's not on the market. I'm selling it for this much. If the numbers make sense to me, I don't care how much you add on top of it. Now, don't go crazy and be greedy, because that's how people kill the business. They try to add 10, 20,000 in a minute. You can't do that. Like, if you walk away with 2,000, 3,000, walk away with 2,000, 3,000 and leave room for, everybody else to make money too. Like, don't get too greedy, because that's the mistake that people make. You don't want to get too greedy. You want to leave some money on the table so that once you get these deals, you can just get rid of them quick. So that's basically how I got started in rehabbing, and just using my own credit and not even using my own money. Do you do classes? Yes, I do classes. Well, not classes, but I do coaching sessions right now, because I like one-on-one. I offer coaching sessions. You can book them on my website, www.investorinheels.net. And with my coaching sessions, we can either be on FaceTime, that's fine with me, or we can just be on a phone call. And you go on my website, you book your session, and I'll call you or FaceTime you, at about 5 minutes prior to your time starts. And I'm an open book. If you're in Atlanta and you need connections to attorneys, contractors, and I'll share my information with you. Apps to help you find properties, apps to help you find owners. You can ask me anything. How do I find these cash buyers? How do I find these deals? What is driving for dollars? How do I get started? Like, I'll go into detail. Help me out with some hard money lenders. I'll give you some of my contacts. Like on my coaching sessions, it's one-on-one, it's personal, and I'm an open book, and I'm going to share all of my information with you. And that's how I've always been. Like anybody who knows me personally, they know like I've always been an open book. And that's why I started the coaching sessions, because I find myself spending so much time giving free information to people all the time. I'm always answering questions in my DMs, but I can't do a whole coaching session in my DMs. So I basically started the coaching sessions, and with the coaching sessions, you get me for 30 minutes or an hour, all to yourself, to ask me as many questions as you want. I'm thinking about doing some classes, but I don't know. Like, I'm not really comfortable talking in front of a whole group of people yet, although I have done it, but I don't know, guys. That's something I need to work on, I guess. But right now, I don't offer classes. I just do the coaching sessions. Can you explain to me what the points mean when using hard money? We already talked about the points. What's your take on wholesaling, short sales, or bank-owned properties? Oh my goodness. Short sales are such a lengthy process. Like short sales, I don't like short sales. I'll just be honest with you guys, because short sales have to be approved from the bank. So, I mean, from the court. I'm sorry. It has to go through, court filings basically to be approved. So that's a lengthy process. Like most investors, they don't have time to have their money, tied up like that. And by the time you come back with an answer, if they're going to accept my offer or not, I'm already moved on to a whole nother deal. So I don't like short sales at all. Now, bank-owned properties, if we don't have to go through the short sale process and we have a link at the bank, that we can jump in on the foreclosure at the right time without going through that whole lengthy process, then yes, I'll do it, But if it's a short sale involved, 9 times out of 10, I won't, because I don't want to get caught up in that time frame that you have to wait in order to get that short sale done. So to answer that question, I don't fool with short sales at all. Me in your live video, let's see. Who's requesting to be in my live video? The Metro Atlanta house lady. Let's see. What determines the points? Is it different for every borrower? It's different for every lender. The lender determines the points. Like it's up to the lender how many points they want to charge you. So some lenders can say, okay, I'll charge you 2%, 2 points on the deal, or some lenders might say I'll charge you 4 points on the deal. They charge anywhere from 2 to 6 points, and it just depends on the lender how much they want to charge you. Now, sometimes they can take into consideration, your experience, how much experience you've had rehabbing properties. They can take into consideration your credit. If you have great credit, they might say, okay, she's not that high of a risk, let's charge her just 2 points. But that's how the lender makes their money, the hard money lenders. They make their money from the points. So it's basically up to them. And that's why you can shop around for hard money lenders. Like you can compare points. When you're shopping around for these hard money lenders, you want to ask them, how many points do you guys charge up front? How many points on the deal am I going to be charged? How much is my down payment going to be? They can tell you up front. Also ask them, how many drawers do you get? Like, do I get unlimited drawers? Some lenders will tell you you only get 4 drawers. Now, if you're starting the project with your money and you only get 4 drawers, that's not a lot. That means you have to get a lot of work done before you can actually ask for a drawer, because you can only have 4 drawers. Like, I would never agree to a rehab deal with a hard money lender if I don't have unlimited drawers. Because if you ever get tight on money and I finish these floors, I need you to come out and give me back my money for these floors, so I can take that money and move on to paint. I can move on to trim and crown molding or whatever I need to move on to. You want to have unlimited drawers. So when you're getting into hard money, shop around for lenders. And I sell a hard money lender list. I've dealt with all of those hard money lenders, and they're all pretty good. They all have different terms. So definitely shop around and find out, those key ingredients. I can't hear. Can you guys hear me? Because somebody said they can't hear me. Wow, I had no idea how much you have to pay to use hard money lender. Yes, hard money lenders can get pretty costly. And if you don't move fast, guys, harmony will end up being the ones that make money on the deal. So you want to start small. Like when I first started out with Hard Money, I went into these big projects over there in East Atlanta. This first house I did was a nightmare, guys. Like, you don't even want to know. Everything that could have gone wrong with this property went wrong. Like, it was a nightmare. And I still have this property. And right now I'm Airbnb-ing it. And I'm about to put it back on the market. But paperwork is everything. When you get into these deals and you're using investors' money, especially if you're dealing with friends, paperwork, everything in writing. Don't use any LLC unless you're the main owner on it. You know, I'm not saying not to put anybody. You can add members to your LLC. But if you're in control of this deal and you're putting in all the work, if somebody else is coming in to bring you money towards this deal and they want to have rights to this LLC that you're going to use, you can use any LLC. It doesn't matter. They don't care what LLC you use. If you sell hair, you can use that LLC. I have a property right now under my store, my Shoe Lounge LLC, you know, which has nothing to do with real estate. But the hard money lenders, they don't care what LLC you use. So you're just basically setting yourself up if you put it under an LLC that's not in your name, or if you put it under an LLC that somebody else has control over. So if you're controlling the deal and you're putting in the work and you have, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into it, you have money into it, but you have partners, make sure it's an LLC that you created and that you control, and you add them on your LLC as a member. What's good credit? 700 plus is good credit. What's excellent credit? 800 plus. Let's see. Where did you start looking for investors? For investors, I went to friends first. I went to people that I knew first. But you can find investors all different types of ways. Networking. Like, I found a lot of people that I've done business with. I found them in meetings, real estate meetings. Go to those meetings. Any meetings that say how to learn how to get into real estate with no money. You know, house flipping meetings. You can go on like Meetup and find them. You hear them, you know, on the radio sometimes, social media. Go to those meetings. Even if you feel like you know everything there is to know, go to the meetings. Meetings make you money. Like, you want to network. That is so important. Like, networking is everything. So go to these meetings, guys. Like, it's very important. And when you get there, don't be shy. Network with these people. You want to go to these meetings and you want to network with these people and meet as many people as possible. At real estate meetings, I have met everybody that I needed to make my deals work, from investors to hard money lenders, contractors, you know, accountants. I've met so many different people from going to real estate meetings. I still go to real estate meetings. Even if I'm not speaking at them, I'm still going to come and network with people there. And it's a small community here in Atlanta. I don't know where you guys are located, what states, but once you get into real estate, like, everybody starts to know everybody. You start seeing who's full of it, who's really doing it, you know, who can really help you bring something to the table. But meetings, that's where you meet investors. And just being out, make you some cards. I buy houses cash, like, and give them out everywhere you go, you know. Anytime you go out to different events, talk to people. But family, friends, talk to them. Like, you never know who. So many people want to get into real estate but don't know how. So when you come to them with a plan, and it's a solid plan, you'd be surprised how many people are willing to invest in you and help you make these deals work, because they want to make money too. And it's not a lot of places where you can get, I mean, and then if you have good, you know, the numbers are good with these deals, you can offer them more than 10%. You don't have to just offer them 10% return, you know, but 10% is like the going rate that people offer. But, you know, if it's somebody in your family or somebody that's a friend, you can tell them, look, give me this money I need up front. I use my credit to get the rest. I'll put in all the work. We'll do 70-30, or we'll do 80-20, or if you want to be real nice, we'll do 60-40, or if you really want to be nice, 50-50. Like, whatever it takes to get the deal done until you get your own cash up so you don't have to use anybody. That's the goal. Let's see. You coaching for rehabbing? Yes, I do coaching for rehabbing as well. What should you determine your fee as a wholesaler? Good question. Do the numbers. let's say you get a property that is 20,000, right? 20,000. You've worked out the deal with the owner. You've already done your research. You have to leave. Okay, I'll break this down to you guys really quick. When you get hard money, you have to have at least a 35% markup on the table. That's ARV. So I keep using 100,000 because it's just easy math. So let's say the property is 50,000, right? And then you need another 50,000 to fix it up. So now we need 100,000 total to make this deal work, right? So this is not even the wholesaler. This is the investor that you as the wholesaler are going to sell this deal to, right? So let's say you came to me at humble_7LC, right? This is your question. So I'm going to answer it for you. Let's say you come to me, you say, Janeen, I have a property that is I'm selling for 50,000. You know, I'm a wholesaler. I'm gonna sell it to you for 50,000. It needs about 50,000 in work, 40 to 50,000 in work. You want to leave a little bit of cushion in there for the work. And when you're doing hard money, always inflate your numbers because things always go wrong unexpectedly, and you want to be able to have some extra in there. So always inflate your numbers. If the job costs 5,000, you tell them it costs 7,000, 8,000. Always go higher, better than lower. So, okay, let's say you came to me, right, and you tell me, okay, I have this property, I'm going to sell it to you for 50,000. It needs about 40 to 50,000 in work. The ARV on that property means, and the ARV is after rehab value, how much I can sell it for when I'm done with it. It has to be at least 35% markup. So if I'm going to pay you 50,000 for it at humble_7LLC, and I'm going to put another 40 to 50,000 into it to rehab it, I need to be able to sell that property for at least 135,000 or more. I don't like to deal with anything unless I have at least 40% markup in it. But a hard money lender is not going to touch it unless there's at least 30 to 35% markup. So if you get it from an owner, a distressed owner, right, and they tell you, okay, give me 45,000 for it. You've done your numbers. You know, you say, okay, there's 3 comps in the area within 1 mile. Don't go out further than a mile that has sold within the last 6 months for at least 135,000, right? And they're the same amount of bedrooms. They're the same amount of square footage. Never go up in the square footage. If your property is 1,000 square feet and the property up the street, your comps sold for 135,000, but they're 1,200 square feet, that's not a good comp. Now, if you have some comps up the street that sold for 135,000 and they're 800 square feet, then okay, we can work with that. But never go up, always go down. Okay, so you can sell me that property for 50,000 max. You getting it from the owner for 45,000. Your fee as the investor would be, as the wholesaler would be what? It would be 5,000, right? Because there's $5,000 left in there for you to make money off of. Now, if you want to be generous to me and make the deal look sweet and tell me, okay, give me 47.5, you're still walking away with 2,500 on the deal. How many people make 2,500 in a week? Not a lot, you know. So, and if you do a few of those deals a month, you do 4 of those a month, you're making 10,000 a month. I don't know about you, but 10,000 a month is pretty good. You know, for me, anyway, I'll take it. So, yeah, that's to answer your question. You determine your fee as a wholesaler by doing the numbers. And you see how much room is left in the middle. And just don't try to kill investors. Because a good investor knows their numbers. Good investors know the exact street. Sometimes you have houses on one end of the street that sell for one price. And then you go to the other corner and they're not selling for that price. So you want to target areas that have a lot of construction going on. You see dumpsters in the yard. You know, you're seeing some movement going on over there. You don't want to be the first house on the street that's being fixed up and the whole block is just abandoned houses. That's not really good. Those type of houses, I would just buy them and hold them for a little while until you start seeing activity over there. Let's see. Let me try to answer some more questions. Right? I can't do nothing but respect that. You can only do so much for free. Yep, you're right about that. I just got on live. How did you get started? I got started on Instagram, guys, at Tosh2047. She asked, how did I get started? I actually met my mentor. I had a flat tire. I used to be a real estate agent back in 2005. I got my real estate license because I wanted to get into investing in real estate, but I couldn't figure it out. And back then, I didn't have like A1 credit like I do now, you know. So, and that back then, that was the only thing that I knew, you know, the only way that I knew to break into it. Now, I know about wholesaling, which you don't need credit. Now, I know that you can, you know, put these components together and fit yourself in wherever you can and make the deal work. Now I know that. But back in 2005, I got my real estate license. I thought that's what I needed to get into investing and rehabbing houses, but I was all wrong. And then the market crashed, and then I left it alone in like '08. I started throwing parties, and then I opened a boutique, and I had my shoe boutique from like 2000 to like 2016 when I started back into real estate. And when I got back into real estate this go around, I met a guy who he didn't even try to holler at me. He just helped me out with my flat tire. He was a married man, and he told me about these meetings that he used to have and told me about wholesaling real estate a little bit. You know, he didn't really go into detail too much, but he helped me out with my flat tire, and he invited me to the meeting. And I went to the one meeting, and it sounded like too good to be true. It's like all these people up there talking about how much money they're making, how they're finding these deals and selling them, and you know, they don't own the property, they didn't have credit, they didn't have money. And I'm just thinking like, this guy probably got all these people up here, you know, saying this just to be saying it to make him money. But so I went to that meeting, and I never came back for a while. And this man just kept in contact with me. He just kept telling me, like, you have what it takes. Like, I can just tell you have what it takes. You know, like, you can really make some money in this business. You're missing money. Like, he would call me periodically, like, homegirl, you're missing money. Get out here. Like, I got deals, you know. So one day he contacted me, and I was at my shoe boutique, and I was just frustrated. Like, retail is really good. I enjoyed having a store, but retail is really up and down. So he contacted me at like a breaking point, right? And he said, what are you doing? Like, you're missing money. I have deals on the table. Like, let me send you some of my properties. You know, let me just show you how easy this is without you even going out there to look for the property. I'm just going to show you how you can make money if you actually went out there and looked for these deals like I'm telling you to do. He said, I'm going to send you some properties. I said, okay, send them over, you know. And what I did was I posted those properties on Instagram. And, you know, my personal page, I didn't even have the Investor in Heels page yet. I posted the properties on Instagram, and people started DMing me and asking me about these properties. And I never even seen the properties before. So this one guy, he, you know, DM'd me about the property. He wanted to go out there and see one of them. He sent his contract out there to see them, right? See the property. And he came back to me and he said, oh, that property needs too much work. You know, I don't want to deal with it. I said, okay, cool. You know, if I get any more, if you see anything else on my page that you like, let me know, right? Guess what happened, guys? So he goes and he hires a broker, right? He hires a broker to help him find some deals. Now, the broker sends him some deals because you can find deals that are on the market as well. Not just off the market, but also on the market. But it's a little bit harder because you can't really wholesale on the market deals, although people do it. I've seen people go and show properties and pull the realtor sign out the ground and, you know, act like it's off market. It's been done, trust me, especially here in Atlanta. But you're not really supposed to wholesale on the market deals. So what he did was he hired a broker to find him some deals, right? The broker sent him a list of deals, and one of those deals that the broker told him was a really hot deal, guess what? Was the house that he went to see that I posted on my page, right? But I posted it on my page for, I think, $54,000. The broker sent it to him for $8,000 more, $62,000. So what did he do? He called me back. Well, not call me, but DM me. Hey, you still got that property that I went to see? And I'm like, yeah, I still got it, you know. He's like, is it still $54,000? I'm like, yeah, it's still $54,000. So he said, I want to buy it, right? I hung up, got out my DMs. He told me call him. You know, I didn't even know if the property was still available. I'm just saying it was. I'm so excited that this deal is about to go through. And I jumped on the phone immediately. I called the guy that, you know, sent me the properties. I'm like, hey, do we still have this house? Like, I think I got a buyer. And he's like, yeah, I still have it, you know. So he really gave me the earnest money. You know, I gave him the earnest money for it. We put the paperwork in, and that guy closed that deal in like 7 days. And he didn't even come to the closing. He actually sent somebody else to the closing for him. I never even met the guy in person. He sent somebody else to come to the closing for him and sign for him. I came to the closing. I signed. The guy that sent me the properties, he sold it. He sold it to me for $48,000. I sold it to the guy for $54,000. I made $6,000 off the deal, and that's how I got started. That same week, I closed my shoe boutique, and I've been doing real estate ever since. Yep. So that's how I got started on Instagram. Did you do your rehab on your own? I manage my projects on my own. I didn't actually do the work myself, but I manage my own projects, and I hired my own workers. When I go to, and I pull my own permits, and I just do everything myself as far as the management part goes. So I don't use any GCs. I just manage my own projects. And I meet workers all over the place. Anytime I see vans that are wrapped with, with their company on it that do work, I'm always taking pictures, and then I add them in my contacts, and I put, the company's name and what they do. And then every time I go to Home Depot or Lowe's or a lumber yard or anywhere that sells anything that has to do with construction, or I see people that look like they do construction, I always get their number. I stop, I introduce myself, I let them know, hey, I rehab houses, I build houses, I'm always looking for good workers. I like to get your contact information and keep you in mind. And then when I need something done, I just go through the list and I type in my phone what I need done. If it's flooring, I type in for floors, hardwood floors, or whatever I need done. And all those names pop up, and I start, calling everybody. Hey, I need a quote. Come out here and, give me a quote. So how I find good workers, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. If they ask you for money up front, don't deal with them. Anybody who asks you for money up front, especially if they ask you for money up front to get materials, don't deal with them. Tools, no. Now, the materials, I will buy my own materials, and have them delivered to the property. Or you can call me when you go to purchase the materials, and then I'll pay for them. But I'm not handing you money in your hand to go buy my materials. No. And I'm not paying you a deposit. Every worker, guys, that I have paid a deposit up front before they got work done has ran off, or they didn't do the work right. Now, if they know what they're doing and they're good workers, they're going to start that job without you giving them a dime. If they're too thirsty for the money up front, 9 times out of 10, they're too thirsty. They're hungry for money. They can't be trusted. Like, when people are desperate, they do desperate things. When people are low on money, they do desperate things. So if I have to give you money up front in order for you to start this job, then no, I'm not giving it to you. Now, when you get halfway through the job, I will give you 50% of your money halfway through. And then I'll give you the rest when you're done. But anything outside of 50% when you're halfway done, I'm not giving. And if they are adamant about this money up front, then guess what? Don't work with them. Go down the list and call somebody else. Let's see. What other questions? I'm a builder. Is that a plus when you're going through? Is that a plus when you're going through the process? Going through what process? I'm sorry. At bruh_Albie. You said, I'm a builder. Is that a plus when you're going through the process? You must have asked me that when I was talking about something. Your hard money list, can I use it in California? Yes, you can. A few of the hard money lenders on my list are actually located in California. And I even, there's 7 hard money lenders on the list, and I sell it for $69.99. Each one of those hard money lenders I have done business with. And each one of them will finance you the money to purchase the property and the money to fix the property with no problem. Like, everybody on the list has been people that I've dealt with personally. I'm not going to refer you to anybody if I have never done work with them or I've never financed with them. I'm not going to tell you, hey, go get a loan with this person when I've never used them. Like, I just don't do business like that. So the 7 lenders that I have on that list are actually real lenders that I have used to rehab properties. Let's see. I'm trying to schedule a session, but it won't recognize my email. I triple check the spelling. I'm not sure. I've been getting bookings today, so it shouldn't be giving you a problem. Let me know if you keep having a problem. Email me, investorinheels@gmail.com. But you should be good to go, because I got a couple bookings today already. What's the most difficult thing you would say you ran into with a rehab? The most difficult thing would have been the 2 rehabs that I purchased that end up being new constructions, because they were supposed to be rehabs adding a second floor, and they end up being complete new construction. And we even had a structure engineer go out there and inspect the inspect the project, inspect the property. And the structure engineer is supposed to tell you what you need to do to make sure this property is strong enough to hold this second floor that you're adding, or how you need to frame this so that when you're adding square footage, and they'll tell you how you need to frame the project. Well, he went out there and he inspected everything, and he told us it was good. If we frame it the way he says, that we can add a second floor. Well, when we went into the demo, all the wood was rotted. So I learned the hard way, and I'll save you guys thousands of dollars right now. I learned the hard way. If you're adding square footage to a second floor, if you're adding a second floor onto a 1-floor property, right? You know how you have these neighborhoods that have smaller homes in between, all like East Atlanta. You have all these, small lots. You have older homes that are 1 level, in their pockets in between all these nice, big, beautiful homes that have already been rehabbed that are 2 levels, right? So you go there and you buy these 1-level homes for cheaper, and you add another level and you double your square footage, right? That's what the plan was. That first floor needs to be brick. If it's not totally brick and you have siding on that first floor and it's an old home, you cannot add a second floor. You're taking a big 90% of the time, once you demo it, and you gut it out, your wood is going to be so rotted that it's not going to be able to hold that second floor. I don't care what a structure engineer tells you. Now, what you could do is gut it all out and then just leave the old wood, because some people don't like to deal with, permitting process of getting new construction permits. Because once you get into new construction, you bring in a whole different ball game. You start dealing with erosion control, and anytime in Atlanta you add over 1,000 square feet to a property, you have to deal with erosion control anyway. Now you have to, put in a system to direct your rainwater and all kind of things that you wouldn't imagine with dealing with permits and building. It gets really detailed, guys. So if you don't have brick on that first floor, you cannot add a second floor. If you're going to add a second floor to a property, you need to have solid brick on the first floor. And that's the only way it'll work. And that's the most difficult thing that I have faced with rehabbing, because I had hard money loans for those properties. And, with hard money loan, you're going to set your budget in the beginning. So if you have a budget for $100,000 to rehab this house, and then now it ends up being a new construction property, you have to build from the ground up, and you're building and it costs you like $100 per square foot, and you have to rebuild this whole property. Where's this extra money coming from? You have to either bring in a new investor to add the rest of the money that you need, or you have to come up with it out your pocket. And at the same time, we still have these hard money payments rolling in. Now I have to go back through permitting to get a new permit for a new construction and go back through the process again. And God forbid if you have to go through getting a variance like I did with one of my properties, then that took 10 months to get. Like, it's so much that comes with it when you get into building and rehabbing. That's why I offer my coaching sessions, because so many investors get on here and they tell you all the success stories, right? Like, I can get on here and tell you, hey guys, I build, I rehab, I make so much money, I've never had any problems. That's a damn lie. Like, I'm going to tell you the real. I'm going to tell you the mistakes that I've made so that you don't make them. And that is the best education that you can buy. Like, you need to know the mistakes. You need to know how somebody else messed up and how they got out of it, or how they, end up figuring it out. And that's what will avoid you from making those same mistakes. So that's why me as an investor, coming into the business, I've seen so many good stories, positive stories. Everybody's telling us the good, but nobody's sharing the bad. Nobody's. I started, that's why I focus on telling you guys the real. I tell you guys where I went wrong so that you don't make those same mistakes. And in my coaching sessions, I keep that in mind always. And I just try to make it easier for you guys, because that's the whole goal, to know how to really do it and how to get around making these same mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and that's the best education, is mistakes and learning from your mistakes, really. Like, all the mistakes that I've made and all of the problems I've run into, I don't regret any of it. Like, it has not been easy. I'm still going through it with some of my, first projects that everything could have gone wrong, went wrong. Like, but I don't regret it, because I could not have gotten the education that I got off of those headache properties anywhere else. Like, those properties, they taught me so much. It's like I went to college for building houses. That's how I feel. Like, I couldn't have gotten that education anywhere else. So I don't regret it at all. Do you fix and flip and buy and hold? I fix and flip, but I don't buy and hold. Buy and hold, guys, is your retirement plan. If you're not where you need to be as far as cash flow, you can't buy and hold. Now, I'll tell you how you can start to buy and hold without holding up your money, because buying and holding is holding up your money. That's basically what it is, right? So one way you can do it is you can, I don't know if my text messages that keep coming in are messing with my connection, but I tried to pause them. Okay, so buying and hold, we were talking about that. With buying and holding, you're just holding up your money. So one way you can start buying and holding without holding up your money, every 2 years, you guys can purchase a 4-unit. And it can be 4 townhomes. It has to be connected. It can be 4 townhomes connected. It can be 4 apartments connected, 4 condos connected. And you can buy this as a homeowner with a regular FHA loan or a regular conventional loan. You can purchase up to a 4-unit property, guys, as a homeowner. Now that I know about real estate, before I would have purchased my home that I live in now, I would have purchased a 4-unit. Because with a 4-unit, you can tell them, okay, I'm going to live in one and I'm going to rent out the other 3. You can do this once every 2 years. This is a way that you can get started into buying and holding without holding up your money. So I can get a property with 4 units, right? And I'm going to buy it as a homeowner. So I'm going to put down my down payment. I'm going to get a great interest rate, just like a homeowner would. You can even use first-time home buyers program for your first one that you buy. And that's a rental property. That's actually 4 rental properties in one. And that's how you can get started buying and holding. That's the only way that I would buy and hold right now. Buying and holding is your retirement plan. Once I do enough fix and flips and I do enough, rehabs, then I'll get started on buying and holding. But right now, I'm not ready for retirement yet. So, no, I don't buy and hold yet. I just joined, but I think you just answered this question. Do you still need a real estate license to invest? No, you don't need a real estate license to invest. And your real estate license sometimes hinders what you can do, because now you have to abide by the real estate commission laws. But you can buy and sell properties. You can fix properties. You can wholesale properties, all without having a license. Do you have any buy and hold properties? Yes, I do have buy and hold properties. Not that I own, but I find them. I'm a realtor, so I always see properties that are good buy and holds that already have tenants in them and everything. You can email me if you're looking for some here in Atlanta or in any surrounding areas. Let's see. Save this live, please. Okay, I'll save it. On the deal you just spoke about, how much did that guy sell the house for? Sell house to you make? Disregard my question about the real estate.